We are here at the Yin-Yang Festival. I am here interviewing Alyssa V, who is doing a talk and an interview today about that talk called Embodying the Self. She is a human design person, which I know about, but she's doing a lot of other stuff too. So I'm just going to ask her some questions. So would you like to introduce yourself now that you have been interviewed?
Sure.
Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Alyssa V. I am the owner and founder of Rising Phoenix Intuitive Wellness. I'm a former therapist and active embodiment and reparenting coach. I'm also a human design integrative analyst. All of that just means that I really like reading human design charts and helping people learn how to embody them and reparent themselves.
May I ask your background in therapy?
Yeah, I have my licensed master social worker degree and my MSW. I used to work primarily with people that were focusing on codependency, trauma recovery, anxiety, working things out of the body. I found myself really gravitating towards somatic therapy. Mm-hmm. And then I discovered neuro-linguistic programming and completely changed everything. Now it's more a matter of, okay, here's the issue. How much do you want to work on that issue so it's no longer an issue for you? And how quickly would you like to work? Because if you're able to combine your unconscious and make it conscious and mix it with your somatic system, your nervous system, then you can work anything out of your psyche and out of your body very, very quickly.
I'm so glad that I know about pretty much all of the techniques that you spoke about there, but particularly reparenting. I have a long history with rebirthing, going all the way back to Sandra Ray and Orr, I forget his last name, Leonard Orr, with the breath work and all that stuff. So could you talk a little bit about the work in reparenting? Because a lot of people may not be as familiar with that term.
Yeah, so reparenting is essentially, like by definition, it's where you take on the role of becoming your own parent. Most people that are drawn to it have had difficult childhoods. Sometimes their childhoods were pristine and they had a difficult time launching into adulthood. It's essentially really embodying that mother and father so you can be your own person. Hello.
Hi, come on in.
Join us. Totally lost my train of thought.
Well, but what got you into, because like reparenting, I mean, you don't have to tell any like personal traumatic unless you want.
My whole life is on social media.
Good,
I have
gotcha.
a complete open book.
Good.
I grew up with my parents and my aunt and my uncle all in the same household. An only child. My mother, a social worker, and my father, a house cleaner. And both of them committed to each other to really not pass on generational trauma to me. Like, complete stark difference from their childhoods to mine. Very, very blessed for the work that they did for their generation. Once I reached my teens, my mom got really sick and she almost died on a couple occasions. And I had to learn how to be the mom that I needed when my mom couldn't be the mom that I needed. And it allowed me to really skydive into what it looks like to take care of myself when I grew up in generations of really, really deep enmeshment in codependency and addiction, primarily food addiction, comforting oneself. And the reparenting journey, I didn't even know it was reparenting at the time. I said, I don't want to keep finding all these relationships that are unhealthy for me. I had really intense abusive relationships in my 20s. And then I adopted a lot of the principles that I learned on how to relate in those relationships, and I carried them with me in my 30s, and they didn't feel good. They didn't feel good at all. I was hurting people with the wounds that I had. So I leaned deeper into reparenting, and I learned how to embody the mother that I want to be. And my daughter, she's 3 now. Honestly, her and my husband were just the icing on the cake of what it's like to be my own parent, to be my own mother, to be my own father, even when my parents are alive. My father actually passed away this past summer, and my mom isn't in the greatest health now. So it's pushing me further into this reparenting journey where I realize there's never a finish line. It's a lifelong experience, the way that it is for parents to continuously parent their child, even when their child is grown. It's just about evolution and mutation, evolving into the best version of yourself that you choose to be. And there's no timeline that you need to stop at. You can go for as long as you want, you can rest, you can take breaks. And I look at this as just a lifelong journey, and if I can help other people on it, that is the greatest feeling that I could ever ask for.
Excellent. So before we get into embodying the self, tell me how you got into human design, and give, if you like, a brief or an expanding definition of human design, because it is like nothing else that I have ever come across.
It's very, very unique. I was introduced to human design by a manifestor friend of mine. I'm a 2/4 emotional manifestor. And she's also a 2/4 emotional manifestor, and I was going through a breakup with a different person, not my husband now. And it was very interesting. The person that I was with was a reflector, and reflectors are only 1% of the population, and I'm like, what in the world is a reflector? What does that even mean? I know that everything about me is coming up to the surface, and it's like it's clearing, and it's clearing, and it's clearing. She's like, have you ever heard of human design? I was like, no, tell me more. And then she asked for my date, time, location of birth, sent it to her. She pulled my body graph chart, and she's like, oh, this really explains a lot. You're a manifestor. You're here to impact. You're here to learn through your relationships with people as a 2/4 profile. You're here to kick off of things and leave, and that's where people are going to feel the biggest impact from you. And I was like, oh my God. So I completely went down a neurodivergent rabbit hole into human design, and I looked up the chart of every single person that I had come in contact with in the last 6 months that I still knew, and I just began studying it. And then I started incorporating it into my therapeutic practice and with my clients. And then I started doing shows where I'm doing readings of human design. And essentially the way that I like to describe it is it's like astrology on steroids.
I was going to ask you, because usually when people ask for your date of birth, the time, the location, that's a setup for a natal chart.
Yeah.
But talk about some of the other components in there, because I believe the I Ching is in there.
Yeah, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, and the chakra system, along with astrology.
It's very synthesized, so all of these different individual modalities into one very powerful thing.
It is, and it's different from any other aspect of healing or tool for healing that I've ever really seen. So I look at it as your energetic blueprint, and by blueprint, I mean more the way that you come out. No one is going to be exactly like their human design chart, because we're all susceptible to conditioning, which is outside energy coming in that we take in and pretend like it's ours, for better or worse. Sometimes that results in feelings like anger or frustration or bitterness, or disappointment, and other times it gives us an opportunity to clear out what doesn't belong to us, so we can sink into really intense, deep feelings of peace and satisfaction, success and surprise. One of the things that I really like about human design is, even say twins, where you're born at the same exact time, your charts look identical, because of the conditioning that each person uniquely experiences, they will still be completely different people, which is why I call it a blueprint.
Yeah.
So it's just the basis, and everything else kind of goes on top of it.
I know I gave you my info, but I figured we all had a busy week. But
Yes.
I forget the type that I am, but I know I am second chakra and third chakra dominant.
I think
Whoa! Let's do
now
that.
I'm interested. Now I'm so interested.
Good.
Let's see, did I? I did not. I can, if you would like me.
Oh, well, we could do that later. We
Okay.
have to do
Yeah, I
that on
would
camera.
love
But
to.
maybe another time we could do it on camera.
That
would
would be fun, too.
We're both local. So your topic for today is embodying the self. And obviously, with just what we've covered so far, obviously you're a healer. Obviously you are manifesting something that not a lot of people know about, particularly in conjunction of all the different modalities moving forward as one person in one service. So why did you choose the title Embodying the Self for today?
So to be honest with you, I'm on a path of full embodiment. When I was pregnant with my daughter, over 3 years ago now, I physically felt her energy pushing things out of my body. And I realized that all of my energy was like shooting outwards and upwards in dysregulation, and then I had a really, really difficult time postpartum. I'm a new mom, not anymore, sort of seasoned. But I didn't know how to handle this little person's energy around me all of the time. And then I realized that I'm really activated by things that I've experienced in the past, so my nervous system was haywire. So I started really tuning into how I can regulate my nervous system, and the answer that I kept coming to was embodying who it is and what it is that I want to be. If I just keep embodying the thing that I'm growing into, the growth won't feel painful. It won't feel like I'm some cat in a bathtub trying not to get wet and scared and clawing on the porcelain. It'll be more of a surrender and slipping into the forward movement that I am manifesting and I'm catalyzing for myself. It's not so much about becoming anything, it's about being. And then you'll find out who you become simply by being who you are.
It's beautiful. I mean, you're giving, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite the service package.
I cultivated a methodology that I coined healing by design. And it's all of the modalities that I have utilized that is so custom tailored for each individual person. The energy that I put in it is like I'm creating a baby. I look as though I'm almost pregnant with the person that I'm working with, because all of the energy, all of the skill sets that I've developed with things that I've done go into the work that I'm doing in the container that I've created for the person that is doing their own healing. I don't do anything for the people that I work with. I do it with them. So I do journeying with them. If you have things stuck in your body, all right, let's journey together and both close our eyes and kind of feel into our bodies to see where that lies. Let's look at your human design chart and see maybe where you're feeling this frustration and why. What areas can you decondition within yourself or unlearn the crap that people told you that doesn't really belong? Where in your psyche are you hiding things in your unconscious that actually hurt you instead of help you? Where can you break that pattern? And every person, because every person's different, every person has a different layout of what their healing by design looks like, which is why it's so niche and so custom tailored. And it's fun. I really enjoy it. Like, I actually like working with people. And who can say that they like working? I just love it. I love everything that I do with people.
I do exactly that. I do what I love, and I love what I do. So there's a nice symbiotic flow here. So I'm going to ask you 2 trick questions, but they're not tricky.
Sure.
If you had 2 wishes that you could make, one for yourself and one for the world, pick either one first, take a moment, like a wish that could manifest today. What would you wish? Let's start with the self. If you could make one wish for yourself, what would it be?
I would wish that I can peacefully and comfortably embody who I am without worrying about what other people think.
Rock. Your wish for the world.
The same, but better. To recognize their own power and that they really don't need anyone else outside of themselves to learn who they are.
That's beautiful. So now, as we have to do, because it's online law, how can people find you? Where can people find you?
Where can people find me? I love when people follow me on social media. Alyssa Van Bramer. You might be able to type in Alyssa V.
Oh yeah, I'll be able to.
Rising
you
Phoenix
give me your
Intuitive
info.
Wellness.
Yeah.
Or my website at risingphoeniciw.com.
Great. And what are you doing today at the expo?
So I'm doing human design readings and oracle card readings. I rarely get to do oracle card readings. It's kind of fun to be a little bit more like right-brained and whimsical, but also still grounded, and of course doing human design readings where I'm initiating people into the human design system and how they can use that in their lives, as well as breaking down what neuro-linguistic programming is. Because it's a kind of a scary word, like neuro-linguistic programming. Oh my gosh, I'm programming something. Well, we are. We're always programming ourselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's not new. NLP is like really, really old. So more people I find are familiar with EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, which is sort of a distant branch from NLP. So is there anything you would like to say to the people in the world before we conclude this interview?
I guess my biggest thing is, if you're hearing information that feels unsettling in your body, allow yourself to feel where it feels unsettling, and allow your mind to potentially unpack why it feels unsettling, because so often we run from things that are different, or we attack things that are different. And I feel like if we really want this peace contentment, satisfaction in the world, then we need to stop running and just allow it to either wash over us or recognize that it's not for us and walk away with it.
Well, with the entrance of some plates on a car going behind you, I think we're going to conclude this. And thank you so much, Alyssa V, for being here today. And I hope to run into you again at the next festival expo that Gem does here. But again, we are at the Yin-Yang Festival here at the Saratoga City Center, and it's a real honor and a pleasure to be here. Hail, farewell, and blessed live.